Anyone want to ask a question?
I see one hand. Okay. In the middle there.
Over there. Of course, on the other side.
You want to shout? No, in the middle. You want to shout it out? I can probably hear you.
How does your brain work?
Can you repeat the question, Adam?
The question was, Tina, how does my brain work? You got to ask my wife about that one. I'm not sure exactly. I don't know. I mean, basically, that was it. I'm not kidding. You know, the first time I read that little stunt, it was done with like a matchstick and a key, and I was like, it could be a little more dramatic than that, couldn't it? And that's basically where we wound up. Yeah. Right here, yeah, you got a question? Yeah, please. No, go on. What was something that happened in childhood? Yeah, so...
Can you repeat the question for live stream?
The question was, hello, live stream. I don't know what that was like for you, but don't try this at home. Well, the question is, what from childhood do I take with me into my work? And this may not be the answer that people who read my books to kids want to hear, but fire. I loved fire when I was a kid. I did. I loved it. I would make bombs. Everybody remember the Anarchist Cookbook? Anybody read that? Yeah. I would make bombs in the woods. I am so glad I grew up pre-9/11 because I would definitely have had some problems putting stuff on YouTube and things like that. But luckily, YouTube did not exist when I was pre-adolescent, and we would make all sorts of fun explosives. And my most popular book has like the biggest explosion in children's literature, I believe. And in my own work, anytime I can use firecrackers or flash paper or lycopodium powder, I'm all about it. I love fire. So, and also in the outdoors, we like to make fires outdoors too, in a safe way, most of the time. Another question? Yeah. Okay.
I'm curious how you put like a practice of wonder in your daily life.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Thank you for that. And that's kind of how Bizarre Brooklyn came about. And Alex Boyce is here somewhere, my co-creator. So shout out to Alex Boyce, Alexander Boyce. Go see him at Speakeasy Magic. Speakeasy Magic, great show that's running all the time in New York City. Wonderful close-up magic show. And just kind of during the pandemic, it was tough, right? Like, where do you find wonder when you're stuck inside of your house all day and like looking at little squares on the computer? And I started taking these walks around the neighborhood. I just love that Bob is just being bopped around. You can't see this on the live stream, but he's just kind of boop, boop, boop. It's like a fish concert in here. And I would walk around, I would like look at the trees, because it was the only way to kind of mark the passage of time. And I found that at first I was amazed by the trees, just they're these gigantic living creatures. Imagine if there was a 70-foot tall squirrel outside your house and it was there every day. You would not walk out of the house without being like, look at that thing, wow, there it is. But trees we somehow take for granted, I'm not sure why. And so I started really noticing the trees and the way they would change. And then the more I learned about the trees, which trees were which, what they did, how they flower, why they have this kind of bark or this kind of, the leaf pattern alternating in opposite leaves and all the different seed pods and everything, it became more fascinating. And then the more I learned about that, so I realized that you can kind of fascinate upon any object that sort of tickles your brain. A lot of people think inspiration feels like a lightning bolt, and sometimes it does, if you're lucky. But a lot of times it's just like this little tickle, and you can miss it if you don't pay attention. So I think that's my best practice, is to just, when I feel that little bit of like, oh, tuning forks, what is that going on? And then you just sort of stay with that. And I don't meditate necessarily, but maybe that's the best word for it, is just kind of focus on that and see what happens if I hit it on a plate or on a ground, and just play. Really, that's maybe the best word is play.
Thank you, Adam.